love our family members. We love those that we care for. We sometimes just can't believe what's happening to them. That's what we call caregiver denial. The person with dementia is not going to be able to recognize changes initially, but we as their loved ones can. We need to take a close look at what's going on. Is there a change in their behavior? Is there a change in their personality? Is there a change in their ability to function independently? If there is, we need to take action. Denial is a very, very common way of dealing with this. And let's see how some of our other co-caregivers have recognized their own denial.
You see, what I did is I told all the nurses' aides, the housekeeper, never use the word Alzheimer's. I don't want to hear that word in this house. I never use that word. Because what's the point in giving a person the fear? That's why I say this whole approach to this problem of Alzheimer's is so sad and so ridiculous. They've given it a name without a cure. And anyone who's early looks at this and says, oh, this is going to happen to me.
You never mentioned this to your wife?
I never mentioned it to my wife.
Family?
The family said, I don't ever talk about Alzheimer's. You want to talk about something, talk to me about dementia.
Really?
Absolutely.
It's
I don't want to hear the word Alzheimer's.
That's denial.
It's denial on my part, but what is denial? Denying a label? And that label causes fear? That's not love.
Of course, we know that.
If you weigh what is love, is it important to give somebody a piece of information that's taking them down a path that they're going to die in a certain way,
But
losing their brain?
I'm sensing a sense of denial. My daughter sees it, and
We all go through
Denial
it.
on your part
Yes.
or on
Yeah.
Well, based
We all
on-
go through it, though.
Yeah, based
Yeah,
on
that's
history and-
natural, yes. We don't want this to happen. I mean, by all rights, you look at it and say, please, not me. I don't want to go through this.
Exactly.
You feel yourself being
Yes.
pulled into
frightening.
something that is scary.
It is right.
You're going to watch your husband die.
Oh.
That's scary.
When my wife had the Alzheimer's, they were telling me it was mini strokes. Mini strokes, they say, is like Alzheimer's. So, we went away to Vegas, 2 years, came back, and she got worse. All of a sudden, you're driving me crazy. And then I had to wait to go to a new doctor. I went to another doctor, and he gave her more medicine for her brain. I think destroyed her altogether. It was like 30 milligrams. I'm trying to think of the name of it. But anyway, she was doing great on the Avocet. He gave her that a little more up, which she was only taking half. He upped it to 1 pill a day, and she was doing great. Until he gave her more stuff for the brain. And to me, like I told him, I said, you gotta be brain dead to take 30 milligrams to try to think. And she kept falling. She fell like 3 times, twice in her forehead because of the medicine. The 3rd time she split her head open. So I had to rush her to the hospital. When I went there, I got more help, which everybody's telling me you need help. But where do you get it? I went there, and the nurse came and asked me, do you need help? I said, yes. I said, because I don't know what's going on. Because me, I'm going crazy home. I make food for her, she don't eat it. I throw the dishes in the sink, break the dishes. But don't break. Unbreak the dishes. I got so mad, I was just throwing them in the sink, breaking them. And then after a while, I just sit down and say, what am I doing? You know, she's sick. And I'm making her sicker, and I'm making myself sicker, trying to help her. So I just tried to calm down a little bit, you know, think before I do anything to help her. Because I'm so hypo, I got to do everything now, not later, now. And that was good when I was working, had to be done now. But now it's a different thing, which I never took care of nobody. I didn't know nothing. Let's put it that way. I didn't even know how to pay bills. So it was like me learning and she was learning. teaching her all over again what to do. Now she's getting to a point that she's not really bad, but some days she could be really drives you crazy. Like today was supposed to be her bad day. I say bad days and good days because some days I can talk to her, some days I can't. And she'll sleep all day. Tomorrow when she get up, she might have a different attitude. It's just one thing after another.
Our next family member, his name is Vincent. Would you like to give us a little background, Vincent, on the person that you're caring for?
Okay. It's my dad. His name is Corrado. He goes by a nickname of Corey. He is currently 83 years old. I lost my mom in 1999. In 2003 started to see some signs. I didn't want to admit it. I just put it off as him either not hearing or just not concentrating on my thoughts and comments to him. And then finally in 2005 we went to, we were referred to a neurologist, Alzheimer's, dementia research doctor, and ran some tests and did the objects and the remembering and all that other tests that are done, and prescribed Namenda and Aricept to him. And the next couple of years seemed to be stable. Again, the concern was you had to be looking right at my dad for him to hear things and to understand what you're saying. Somewhat forgetful, but still worked 3 days a week in a custodial capacity at the Colony Police Department.
But he was still able to drive.
He was. Again, part of the resilience of me not wanting to admit that he had issues. I mean, it was a 3-mile drive that was the same route every day and so on and so forth, and it was only 3 days a week. Finally took the car away from him in February, which caused him to not be able to work anymore. The other issue that I finally came to realization was that he was doing things that I wasn't aware of. He was living alone, but yet I would stop at 7 to make sure he had breakfast, at noon for lunch, 5 o'clock for dinner, and 11 o'clock to make sure he was in bed. The issue that came to mind that I was telling Carol was that the newspaper delivery lady works with my wife, and she said she saw my father. She goes, "Geez, I saw your father-in-law this morning." She goes, "Where'd you see him?" She goes, "He was out walking when I was delivering the paper." So I would show up at 7 o'clock in the morning, he'd be sitting there reading the paper and having coffee, and I wouldn't think anything of it. Finally came to the realization that this is going to start happening more and more, and that it's probably in the best interest for his safety as well as his health. And came here to the Teresian house because my aunt, his sister, was in Carmel Gardens West back in the early 90s and had the same disease. So filled out the paperwork, dropped off the application, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. I sat out at the picnic. There's a chair outside the main entrance, and I sat there and wondered if I was doing the right thing for him. And I wish I had done it 5 years ago when it first came about, because he's so well cared for here, so well loved by the nurses and the nuns and everybody that's involved here. And I was trying to do it all myself.